Hello, my loves. Welcome to the next video in the It's Witchcraft series. The end of this October 2024 in this series has a focus on the Sabbath of Samhain, the Death card, the Witch's New Year, and the powerful energy of Dia de los Muertos as well. So, I was thinking as I was preparing to step into the energy of Samhain as a solitary witch, but also as a priestess who is holding an observance for her community on this particular Sabbath, of the kind of core foundations within Samhain itself. And there is going to be another video on that coming to the channel very soon, so you can keep an eye out for that if you want to connect more with the history of Samhain, but also how you can personally experience that for yourself on your path, whether you consider yourself a witch or a pagan or just following an alternative spiritual path in general. But we talk a lot about liminal spaces when we are engaged in this type of spiritual path and journey, or even when we are just working with tarot, because it is a tool of the liminal space, really. And so I wanted to speak to the definition of liminal and how we walk with this, especially on Samhain and Beltane, where the veil is indeed the thinnest. And from this liminal space, we can access profound messages, a deep sense of connection to the other side, to other realms, and a real sense of understanding and awareness from either astral travel or witch flight, or just from expanding our senses to tap into, the upper world, the middle world, and the lower world from a shamanic perspective, if you will. So I want to start by giving you the dictionary definition of liminal, because I do think words have great power. So it derives from Latin, limen, which means threshold, literally a doorway. And I pulled 3 definitions from the Oxford Dictionary here. Liminal, occupying a position at or on both sides of a boundary or threshold. 2, relating to a transitional or initial stage of a process. And 3, an intermediate state or condition. So from a witchcraft perspective, when we talk about as a witch having a foot in both worlds, and the very permeable energy of a Sabbath such as Samhain, where the space is liminal, the veil is very thin, and so we can both be here and elsewhere. The liminal space within that is the threshold, it's the in-between. So if you think of your body with literally your left foot on the earth and your right foot on the other side, other realms, if you will, the center of that is the threshold. The core of your body is the threshold. And so for me as a witch, that's very much that intuitive space, but the ability to interpret the messages, the abilities to receive messages from our beloved dead, connection to the Fae, connection to angels and demons, connection to other energies, and deep and profound connection to deity. It's also a space from which we can access past, present, and future, and so we can travel along ley lines. It's a very, very powerful space. It is an in-between. And so it is a space from which all possibilities lie. And I want to give you kind of 2 visuals if you're a visual person, and I'm also going to give you a feeling space within that, okay? So the visual for me, when I think of the liminal space and why it is so powerful, think of when you step over a doorway in a hallway. Let's say you're in a hallway and there's the threshold of the door and there's a room in front of you. The liminal space is the threshold itself. And you know that it's darker in the hallway, and when you step into the room, let's say that gets the most morning sun, there's light that you're going to see in that other room, right? So there's the dark and the light. The threshold is the in-between. Another visual for you comes from the Moon card in Ian Daniels' Tarot of Vampyres. This is the underworld. The threshold is here. For our vampire bride, this is her threshold, where she's in the graveyard. She has an awareness of things, but things are murky and she may be avoiding. When she steps over this threshold, she's in the underworld, her underworld. So there is the reality of her fears and the space in which she can avoid the fears. And the threshold is here. The key for her in this card is her intuition and psychic ability. The threshold is here. This is the liminal space, this threshold. So for witches, that space, that liminal space, whether it is a literal threshold that we've just discussed from a seeing space, or the energy of the crossroads where two or more roads meet, that center space is the liminal space. From that space, we can work very powerful magic where we're tapped into multiple realms, multiple perspectives, multiple levels of understanding and awareness. Now, in our personal journey, in our own shadow work, the liminal space gives us the perspective of the conscious self as well as the unconscious self. The space where those two meet, that in-between space, is the middle space from which we can reach new awarenesses and understand other perspectives besides the one conscious ego perspective, if you will, right? There's a huge hawk flying right in the air above my kitchen window. That is so beautiful. Okay, so there's a beautiful affirmation for us of this energy. Now, when we think of this liminal space, it is neither death or rebirth. It is neither death nor life. It's the space in the middle. It's the pause. So we've had two visuals from a feeling space. You know, when you've been crying and all of a sudden you stop, that feeling right there, that's a liminal space feeling. When you go into a meditative or journey space, the space that you enter into when the mind chatter shifts and quiets down just before you step into journey, that's the liminal space. And the space in between your inhale and exhale is a liminal space. So I want you to go ahead and take a nice inhale through the nose with me here. Hold. Exhale. The pause in between is your liminal space. Deity, such as Hekate. For me, also, any death deity, Santa Muerte, the energy of Hades, Osiris, particularly Anubis, have access and powerful understanding and awareness of the liminal space. It is from the understanding we receive in the liminal space that we are able to make powerful choices forward, and as witches have an understanding of the type of magic we wish to work, the energy we wish to embody, the spirits and beings that we wish to commune with. And we can also gain great perspective on other individuals, be they ancestors, be they people in our current experience, or those who have passed over, those who have crossed over to the other side. The crossing is the liminal. And if you have ever been blessed to witness a person as they leave their physical body, the space before that last release is a very liminal, permeable space where they have literally one foot in both worlds. And if you are blessed enough to be able to talk to someone in that space, they will let you know that they are both in that world and this world. It is a very powerful space to have access to, from which we can understand, again, deep levels of wisdom, deep levels of awareness, and where we can have profound moments of understanding. And so it is a very powerful space for the witch, a very, very powerful space for the witch. It is a space for reflection, for contemplation, for pondering, and for awareness. For me and my personal path as a witch, it's a place where I can get very clear on my center, very grounded, very tapped in to the marriage of earth and spirit and how those are uniting for myself. Again, it is a powerful place within which to work magic, which is why some of my favorite times of day happen at dusk and dawn. This is a liminal space. And I actually had the idea for this video sitting in the time period just after the sunset, before the sky became completely dark. And that is dusk. That is a liminal space. The witching hour, if you will, typically between 3 and 4 in the morning, another powerful liminal space where we have access to both the light and the dark, the union of the two, the perspective of both, from which we can pull spices, if you will, to work our magic, again, to understand and to commune with other entities, with our beloved dead, and with deity. So it's a powerful time and space and place to work your magic. And this is why liminal spaces, liminal places matter. It's not just a popular buzzword at the moment to use. Liminal spaces are deeply powerful. They are ancient and eternal. They're infinite in nature. And they're places where we really can set ourselves free and allow ourselves to have an understanding of a rebirth we may wish to embrace in our journey. So if you are exploring witchcraft on your path, I hope that this video helps you to understand liminal spaces a bit better. And if you are interested in experiencing more of the liminal space yourself, try meditating in front of your altar, working journey, astral travel, witch flight at your altar at dawn or dusk. Go and stand at a crossroads. Step over a threshold in your home and feel the difference from one space to the next. Get curious about the in-between, about gradations, and connect with goddesses like Hekate, with Sabbats like Samhain and Beltane, and with seasons like fall and spring, so that you can deepen into your awareness of liminal space and how you wish to bring it into your personal magical practice. I am sending you, as always, oceans of love, and I will, of course, see you in the next video. Take care.